Welcome to the Writing with Purpose podcast, where I, Anna Williscroft, chat with fellow writers and outdoor enthusiasts about how we can embrace creativity and curiosity to live a life full of adventure that doesn't feel like hard work. I delve into exploratory conversations about my two loves in life, writing and nature connection, as part of my mission to share the wellbeing benefits they both bring. It's wonderful to have you here today. Hi, welcome to the next 6 episodes of this podcast. Now, it's just going to be me talking to you over the next 6 episodes about my two loves in life, writing and nature. And I'm going to spread these over 3 sections. So it's going to be writing for well-being, and how to use words for wellness and your own well-being. Nature, I'm going to be looking at how to discover a nourishing connection with the great outdoors, because it's something that we all benefit from. And finally, I'm going to talk about creativity and how to gain more creativity in everyday life. These 3 things, I believe, are something that enhances our life, makes it better, and also helps us to observe things, spot things, and just generally be more aware of what's happening, what we enjoy ourselves, and to help kind of stop things like procrastination, perfectionism, imposter syndrome, all that sort of thing. So welcome along. Thank you for listening to previous episodes. And a lot has actually happened since those initial 10 episodes. All of those were recorded as an interview. So if you haven't listened to any, please do check back and listen to the ones that stand out. I'm talking to all sorts of different people about their love of nature, how they get outdoors, how they help themselves to feel better by walking, doing all sorts of things outside, and also their relationship with writing and what that means to them, whether it's writing as a career, or whether it's that they just enjoy writing as part of journaling. And time sort of compresses, doesn't it? I don't know if this is something that happens the older that you get, but yeah, since those episodes were recorded between May and August of this year, a lot for me has certainly happened. Now, with these next 6 episodes, I'm going to try and keep them short to around about 15-20 minutes. I've made some notes, but I've also realised that actually just talking to people on an ad hoc basis brings out more of your own thoughts, feelings, emotions. It's more authentic, shall we say, and that's something that I've learned over this past 6 and 12 month journey that I've been on, where I used to plan absolutely everything to the nth degree. I would script everything, and really it wasn't helping me. So I keep to a few little bullet points, but most of this is going to be a bit more ad lib. So let's see how we go. Each episode, as I say, is going to be around about 15-20 minutes. I'm going to share some journaling tips with you across these 3 sections of writing, creativity and nature. I'm also going to share some resources, talk about some things, some books, some other podcasts, some other thought leaders that you can have your own, carry out your own research with. I shall leave you with some prompts and quotes and things like that will help your own writing journey and give you some ideas to step outside in nature. Okay, so one of my reasons actually for talking to you in a little bit more of a sort of ad hoc basis, just going off the cuff, shall we say, is that apart from it bringing out more authenticity, I think it helps you just to share things that are going on in life. Everybody can learn from everybody else, and the only way to do that is to share. And I've been someone that has not, it's not been natural for me to share, because I've always thought, why would somebody even bother about what it is that I do in my life. But really, I can be on a journey, and someone could be on exactly the same journey as me, albeit there will be different aspects that they will bump into, different people that they will meet, will find themselves in different spaces. But they want to go on a similar journey. And even if I'm 2 weeks ahead, 2 months ahead, 2 years ahead, that is going to help somebody else. So I would love for you to keep that in your head as well. So one of the big things that's happened to me since the previous episodes were recorded is that I've enrolled in a master's in creative writing and wellbeing, and boy, is it a lot more work than I thought it was going to be. So what I have done is I've had to stop promoting my events. I've had to put a pause on things because really, I think sometimes you get to a point when you've got to make some decisions. You've got to prioritize what's important to you, and this masters for me is it's going to kind of pave the way. My career, my next sort of stage in life, if you like. So I've got to work at it. I need to get a good result, or I want to get a good result. And I've had a few issues with it so far, the IT issues at the university's end. So I'm actually on catch up at the moment, but I am learning such a lot, and I would love to be able to share some of these learnings with you on these podcast episodes, on this journey, because there's a lot of writing techniques, there's a lot of ways I've sort of learnt my own craft. It's helped me to develop my own craft. It's also given me some tools to use in life in general as well. Patience being one of them. Looking at things, reading at things in more depth to really understand things has been another. I think in our modern day society, we're constantly on the go. There's things that we really ought to pay a little bit more attention to, but we don't, because there's so many things that are trying to attract our attention. These little tugs on the shoulder, both shoulders, elbows, arms, you name it. We've got distractions and interruptions coming at us 24/7. So it's doing this university has made me check different aspects of my life and put some things in check. So I'll be sharing some of that journey as we go along. Okay, so without further ado, writing. Now, if you've listened to any of the previous podcasts or sort of met me in any way, in person or online, then you will know that I'm a big advocate for journaling. And I've journaled on and off in my whole life, and depending on what's happened throughout life has determined what type of journaling that I do. So be it more of here's what's happened throughout the day, a little bit of reflection on what's happened throughout the day, trying to organise thoughts. I do a lot of dream journaling now, because part of my reasons for taking the masters is because I'm finally embarking on my dream to be a fiction writer, a whodunit crime fiction writer, and I think we dream a lot of wacky stuff. So it's kind of your unconscious mind thoughts coming out in dreams, and I think there's a lot of storylines and plots and character development, if you like, that can be taken from those dreams. So I love to recall my dreams and try and work out, where's this leading, or how can I develop this. Bullet journaling I do a lot of, and gratitude journaling. I certainly used to do a lot of gratitude journaling, which for me helped with just being more aware of what's going on around me, noticing things, being able to go on a walk somewhere and hear the birds, see the birds, spot flowers, see things in the distance and be curious about those sorts of things. And that certainly started by gratitude journaling, because it made me more thankful for the little things in life, or the things that you spot not necessarily the things that have got any sort of monetary value to them. It just sort of makes you more thankful of the small things, the daily things that happen in life that you just tend to bypass and ignore quite a lot. So yeah, journaling has been massive for my own self-development, my own self-awareness, and I wholeheartedly recommend it to anybody. But gratitude certainly is a good place to start. 3 things you're grateful for today, 3 things that you're going to be grateful for as the day progresses. Those sorts of things are questions that you can ask and write about. Journaling is very cathartic. If you have got something going on, something that's emotionally quite challenging for you, then just the process of emptying your head onto a sheet of paper and writing about your thoughts, your feelings, what mood are you in today, and what have you done that day, who's been involved, where have you been, and trying to work out through organisation of those thoughts, those words that you've put onto paper is really, really insightful, because you can sort of say, okay, well, this has happened, and that's why I don't feel great, or actually today this has happened and I feel amazing. So it sort of helps you to plot things that happen in a little bit more detail, so that you can make some decisions around, well, let's stop doing that, or let's look at ways to help me stop doing that, and how can I get more of this in my life to make me feel better. So for example, I noticed that going out for a walk on a regular basis, just breaking up the day, getting some fresh air, going out with no specific intention of where I'm going to go, but it can be anything from sort of 15 minutes to an hour, and that really invigorates me. That helps me to get on with the rest of the day. It helps to remove blocks from my mind so that I can concentrate on work, helps with problem solving, generating ideas. So, the journaling is a lot of it is about you finding those things, those habits, those routines that are going to help you. And as well as journaling, I'm also a big advocate for just writing for pleasure. And I've always written stories on and off for throughout my life. Something else that I've done and not taken too far or too seriously as a career until now. Or yet is a powerful word that we can always use. And one of the things that I've picked up at the university studies actually is that writing for me, and I think for a lot of people that enjoy writing and the creative aspect of writing, is that it's autotelic. And what that means is it's an activity that there's kind of no other reason for doing this activity other than to feel the experience and be involved in the experience that it provides for you. So it's not particularly got a purpose, an end outcome, shall we say. It's more that you just enjoy doing it for the time and the presence that you give to it in the moment. And that's what I really get out of creative writing and even journaling as well, because sometimes I like journaling and I'm kind of processing as I'm doing it, and I don't always need to have that reflection period at the end of it. But yeah, that was something that I actually learned, autotelic. And it's not just for journaling, it could be anything that we do. And when you think about a lot of things in life are exotelic, which means that there's some sort of gratification that we seek at the end of doing something. So that might be money, it might be a goal, it might be to, feed ourselves even. So there's a differentiation between the two of them. And I think that's something that you can be really curious about. So again, if you journal, have a think about these things and, find out what just feels good as you are doing it. And you don't really care about what happens at the end of it. You're just enjoying it for the moment. The other thing that I think is great about writing is the more that you write, the better that you'll read. And then the more that you read, the better that you'll write. And again, these two things I'm finding as I'm doing the university studies kind of work hand in hand. So yeah, I want to leave you with some journaling prompts. And With each section, I'm going to give you some journaling prompts to have a think about yourself, and feel free to pause this podcast, to pause me at any time to start making notes, or just write them down and then refer to them at the end of the podcast. Journaling and writing is about finding a time, a place that works for you. And not all of these prompts will relate to you. They will resonate with you. So it's just really choosing what does and going with those. So, okay, your writing words for wellness journaling prompts are: where does writing show up in daily life for you? And what pleasures do you take from it? What feelings and emotions do different types of writing generate? And what steps can you take to alter how you feel if writing feels like a chore? Okay, so see where those take you. And if there's one thing that I can suggest when you're writing, is slow down with it. There's no right or wrong in how long you need to spend on journaling or writing. Again, it's just what feels good for you. Some people suggest 10, 15, 20 minutes in the morning. Some people suggest 5 minutes at night. I just suggest whatever works well for you. I think a minimum of 5 to 6 minutes is good, because it gives you enough time to get into something. But try and slow down, and try and slow your writing speed down as well. That's something that I found really helps me, not only to be able to read my own writing, which can be a little bit tricky sometimes, but yeah, slow down your writing, you'll get more out of it. It's a physical act as well. If you can write using a pen or pencil on some paper rather than electronically, I realise that electronically is better for some people. Again, as I've said before, it's just about finding something that is right for you. Okay. Moving on to nature. Now, about 3 weeks ago, I did a running event called Escape from Meriden, which some of you may have heard of. Meriden is a place in the middle of England, and at 1 minute to midnight, all of the participants get released, shall we say. Most of us wear orange boiler suits, so we look like escaped convicts. It's hilarious. Now, this particular night, it was pouring down with rain. And it was windy, and could have been better in conditions. Let's just say that. So the minimum you have to run to get any kind of medal or certificate is 30 miles as the crow flies. So for myself and the group that I was with, that worked out around about 35 miles, I think it was. I wanted to go for 60 as the crow flies, which was about 77 miles. Unfortunately, my knees and my hips told me otherwise, and I made the decision to pull out at just under 25 miles, and I was devastated. I was absolutely gutted. I thought it was the end of my running enjoyment, and yeah, I broke down and I cried in front of a friend. Which when you're sort of connected to something and you're emotionally involved, this happens. And what I realised afterwards was, and so many people said to me, I'd run almost a marathon at night without sleep in the rain, and what an achievement that was. 25 miles. I have run more before, but over a longer period of time. I completed that within around about 7 hours. Why am I telling you this story? Well, afterwards, obviously my legs weren't great for a couple of days, but I actually kind of fell out of love of getting outside. So for a couple of weeks, I didn't do a great deal. I stayed indoors. I sat in staring at the computer. I got involved with more work, and I didn't have those all important breaks and walks that I mentioned earlier on in this episode. And do you know what? It's affected my energy, and that again is something that sort of comes out when you journal, when you write. You realize where your energy levels get depleted, where they get picked up, and what you can use as an energy source. And for me, that is nature, that is getting outside, it's having a change of scenery, it's breaking down those four walls that you sit in on a regular basis. And that might be the office, that might be that you just feel as though you spend too much time inside watching television, not moving, sitting on the sofa. Get outside, walk. Movement of the body, physical movement, helps to move the mind as well. And certainly for me, it is a massive energy booster. My whole batteries are filled up when I go outside for a walk. And I've actually been on a walk this morning before recording this podcast episode. And believe me, it's probably made me talk a lot faster because I'm excited about doing this. I'm excited about talking to you guys for the next 6 episodes, just sharing things, just talking to you and letting whatever's in my mind flow. All I did was walk to a supermarket. I bought some food that we needed. I was going to do it at lunchtime, but I thought, no, let's do it in the morning. Sets me up for the day. So I would really encourage everybody to just take notice of how they feel when they're outside and have a think about, what you can do to get outside more. Now, something I do want to share with you that I'll talk about in a little bit more detail in some other episodes is a guide that the University of Derby has published, which is all about increasing people's connection with nature and making some suggestions in how you can do that. And the university publication identifies 5 pathways to achieving a deeper relationship with the great outdoors. And those 5 things are the senses, beauty, emotion, meaning, and compassion. So with all of these 5 things and engaging these 5 things, we're getting more out of our connection with the great outdoors. And I'll talk a little bit more in detail with each one of these over the next 5 episodes. But this podcast episode has been released on the 23rd of December, so it's Christmas time, and it's actually the Festival of Winter Walks as well, which is something that I think the Ramblers started in the UK about 25 years ago, and it's Britain's biggest walking festival, and it starts mid-December to mid-January, and sometimes the exact dates are a little bit uncertain, certainly from what I found online anyway. But this festival encourages us to explore the winter landscapes and observe the beauty around us, and it really is a wonderland around this time. It's warmed up a little bit here in the UK, but a couple of weeks ago we had a lot of frost and snow about a week ago, and you're looking outside when that sort of thing happens, it's just absolutely stunning. And why would you not want to get out in it is what I would say. So let me give you some more journal prompts to help with this connection with nature. Again, pause me if you feel you need to, or just write them down and come back to them. So how much time do you spend in nature, and how happy are you about the time that you spend in nature? How does spending time in nature make you feel? And what senses do you use when you're outside? And what stands out for you? So with this, thinking about what you're seeing, what you're smelling, what you are hearing, and how it makes you feel. So yeah, just write around, free write around all of that, and see what happens. Now, in the show notes, I will share a link to the University of Derby's publication, and also where you can find some more information about the Festival of Winter Walks if you want to get more involved in that. Okay, so moving on to creativity and exploring your authentic self. Now, creativity, when I've paid attention to creativity and actually invited more creativity into my life, and that means to not just be creative as in, I think sometimes there's a bit of a misconception with creativity. People think that they need to be a creative, an artist, a writer, a performer on the stage, and that makes somebody a creative. Well, you don't have to be a creative in terms of what you do for work, to be creative. Anyone can be creative, whether it's somebody that is a mathematician, it solves problems, works in the kitchen, cooking, gardening, planning a hike at the weekend, planning the annual holiday. All those sorts of things require you to be creative. And getting more creativity in your life is finding those things that bring you joy, finding those things that don't feel as though they drag, they don't feel like a chore. You don't feel self-conscious doing any of them. This is creativity. For me, it is about feeling in flow. And there's a person called Dr. Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, I think that's how you pronounce it. I will put a link in the show notes. And he identifies 9 elements of being in flow. And again, I will talk about these a little bit more detail over the next episodes. But one of the things that he mentions is where time becomes a little bit distorted. It can feel shorter or it can be longer depending on what you're doing, but you are thoroughly enjoying it, and you feel great during it, great afterwards. So I encourage you to try and recognize what you're doing and when this happens for you. And just by logging these sorts of things in a journal, you can help to find trends that you can work on and develop in a lot more detail. But creativity for me has definitely helped me to reduce procrastination. It stopped me from overthinking. Nowadays, I just get on with stuff. There's no point in kind of sitting there pondering over something, time in and time out. We don't have time for that in our life. We don't have time to be self-conscious about what other people think of us. Let's just get on with the stuff that we enjoy. But the first step to that is finding out what we enjoy. So I encourage everybody, I invite you to try new experiences, to learn new skills, to improve your knowledge. All of these things help because there's a whole science behind creativity, and trying these new things develops new neural pathways in your brain and alters existing ones. So it boosts what's called neuroplasticity, which is our brain's ability to change and adapt, and that's a good thing. Right? And that can be through exercise, mindfulness, play, all sorts of things. So let me encourage you to be more creative with some journal prompts. So in what ways are you creative? And as it's Christmas time, there's got to be loads of things that you've done recently that show that creativity. The tree dressing, the present shopping, wrapping presents, writing cards, preparing meal plans for the food, the big Christmas meal, or cooking, that festive food. Elf on the shelf, who does that? I mean, that involves some creativity, right? It's a pain in the backside, but you've got to be creative with it. So yeah, think about what ways you are creative. And what new experiences, activities, or habits can you plan for 2024 that are creative in nature? And another suggestion, because it's Christmas, capture the essence of Christmas Day for you. What are your family traditions and what makes it special for you? And if you enjoy writing, why not try writing a creative story about your ideal Christmas day and then journal about the events after the 25th? And remember to reflect on it and circle the creative parts. You might be surprised at what stands out for you. Okay, so that concludes today's episode. I think I'm way over 15-20 minutes, but there you go. That's when I get excited. I talk a lot more. But I'm going to be back on the 30th of December, and during that episode, I'll share some reflection thoughts with you. I'll invite you to think about some activities that can draw 2023 to a close. And then also plan for an incredible 2024. So I'm going to include a bunch of stuff in the show notes for you, but I want to signpost you as well to a collaborative podcast that I record with 2 amazing ladies, and that's called the Soulful Reawakening podcast. and we've within that we've developed a 24-day advent calendar as well that goes into detail about self-care and nourishing tips to help you cope with December. Now, although December's almost over, you can still download that and see what you can use to continue self-care into January and the new year, because self-care is not about a single day or a week or even a month of the year. It's about continual self-care for you. I also create monthly journal planners. So I'll include the link for you to get on the mailing list to receive those. They are for free. And I also write a bi-weekly email, which is full of creativity prompts, ways of getting involved more in nature, and then writing for your well-being. So with that, I'll leave you with a quote, which is, "You are confined only by the walls you build yourself." And that's by Andrew Murphy. So have a fabulous Christmas, everybody. Thank you very much for listening. I do appreciate your time, and I hope so much that you've got some takeaways from this. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to today's Writing with Purpose podcast. Having conversations with fellow writers or adventure enthusiasts brings two of my biggest loves in life together, writing and nature connection. I've been a copywriter and content creator for 23 years, but my passion is writing for well-being, and I'm on a mission to share the benefits that putting pen to paper has for personal wellness with as many people as possible. If you want to learn more about writing for your well-being and journaling techniques, please connect with me in my Facebook group, Journaling with Anna.